ladies and gentlemen, Rob Baldwin.
I know that makes for a really good visual, doesn't it? Yeah, right. It's like, oh, gross. You can't come to my house. So I just want to, I've got some really awesome questions that you guys asked, and I'm so glad that we have these because, again, I can't reiterate enough that we fill these out, and these should be our bank of 1-minute commercials, all these questions, right? But how I got started in this really kind of happened back in the late 70s when my dad moved my family from Fresno down to Long Beach, and it was in the middle of the school year. I was in 8th grade, and I had to take an elective, and the only one that was open, because nobody wanted it, and I don't know why, was woodshop. And I had this great teacher in woodshop that showed me a lot of things that I didn't really appreciate until my older years. And I never went to college. It was out of high school, went straight to work in the family business, hated it, left that, went to work somewhere else, ended up leaving that, back to the family business, and it was kind of this bing, bing, back to the family business, which is an alarm company that my dad still owns today. And so forward into kind of my older years, where I'm at now, and 5 years ago, I was on a Friday, and I was flipping through YouTube, and in the suggested videos was this short documentary. It was only 12 minutes long, and it's this guy in Eureka that had started a business. Well, he has a wood shop up there where he manufactures replica parts for Victorian homes, and he took kids in and teaches them everything, really. They have printing presses. He's got just his wood shop. They've got pottery. They've got blacksmithing, looms, apothecary, which is working with stones, and they have a what do they call it? An alchemy, like basic chemistry type stuff, and so they're kind of going to school, so they're learning all kinds of things in their seminary. So I got to talk with him. I went to visit him a few years ago, and just really got inspired, and that's what really kind of touched my heart, is that there are so many kids today that fall through the cracks due to whatever, home life, maybe the way they look, maybe they're not socially adept like the general population. It doesn't matter, whatever their reason is. The bottom line is that they're falling through the cracks. And all they need is somebody to say, hey, your style of learning or your style of communicating is completely different, and I recognize that, and let's do one-on-one. And let's start out by making something. And this guy in Eureka that I'd mentioned, he had his kids doing that, just turning a bowl. There's no purpose, no rhyme, no reason, just turn a bowl. And just a basic bowl. And the kids were elated that, wow, look what I created, look what I did this, right? Somebody believed in me to give me a sharp tool and a machine, and look what I did with this, right? And so I'd asked him if he kind of kept in contact with his previous students, and he said that in 2010 they had kind of a reunion, and 55 of his ex-students showed up. Now, mind you, these were all kids that had been in trouble with the law, expelled from school, ordered to go back to school, but couldn't because they'd been expelled, so they're kind of caught in this loop. So they were all gainfully employed. None of them were woodworkers, and he's like, I don't even care about that. As long as they're providing for themselves and their families, they're contributing to society instead of taking from society. And so that's my goal, is to kind of do, not to have a school, but just to provide a space for kids to be able to come in and create whatever makes them happy. Whatever, because it doesn't matter what you're creating, because it's therapy in the fact of whatever that is before you. Certainly I have a ton of ideas for them to be able to do, but yeah, so, all right, let me get into questions, because I know time flies. So if you had all the funds you need, what would your ultimate big dream goal for First Stone be? Yes. So I'd have to have a large facility, because I want to do so much. One is I want to provide a location for us, people to say they've got 100 of these widgets. And instead of throwing them in the landfill, they bring them to First Stone and they donate them. Because then Nancy comes along and she says, hey, I could use a few of these widgets. And because I want to do this little craft project or something, buttons, leather, material, I mean, you name it. Instead of it going into the landfill, it comes to us. So we're kind of a junk collector, sort of, but not junk. That makes sense, right? Not like broken down refrigerators and dishwashers. That goes somewhere else, right? And so that's a nonprofit standalone that kind of helps pay for, everything else. So along with being able to, the facility that I would love, the facility of the future for First Stone would be to have, be able to have homeschoolers come in and have a shop class. Of course, the population that I just talked about specifically, those kids teens of single moms, the Bowman, I know I was talking to somebody earlier about that, those kids that, kind of fallen through the cracks, right? And then have a place for the community to buy a membership. They can come in, they can use all the tools, they have workbenches, and they can put together whatever project that they need to put together. So that's really my ultimate goal, is to serve those. Along with, I also have something that I would love to do, I just don't know how to do it, and it's going to be further down the road, is to have classes for special needs kids too. So those that are maybe a little bit more high functioning special needs kids, I think that they certainly would benefit from something like that. And veterans, I mean, the list goes on, it's just, and I can't do this by myself, so I need help. So what age groups do I work with? Primarily right now, it's middle school on up. So I don't really have anything yet for the wee ones yet, like that age group. Sorry, not yet. I got to work on something. Let's see, do you know of any other organizations that offer woodshop to teens? Unfortunately, no. The only thing that we have here in town is COC has a makerspace. I have 1 minute left out of 8 or 10? Okay, thank you. All right. Golly, man, I got to talk faster. Should have drank more coffee. So COC has the makerspace. That's available on, I know it's available on Saturdays and I think maybe on Fridays, but you have to typically be a student to be able to access that during the week. That's the only place. And if I had an unlimited budget, which tools or cutting edge things would you buy? Really not so much cutting edge. I would buy top of the line hand planes, spoke shaves, those hand tools, because they will last forever if you maintain them. And I would love to have a CNC as well, where I could do a 4x4 piece of plywood and then another one that would do a 4x8 piece of plywood. And it's computer operated and you can make whatever you want, honestly. What inspires me and keeps me going? Just the kind of encompassing everything that I just spoke about really kind of inspires me. Helping one child, one young adult, whatever it is. 2 minutes, okay. So whatever that is, that's what inspires me. Also, just solving a simple, basic problem inspires me too. I love to be able to see something and say, so how could we not make that better necessarily, but make it easier, right? Or just something in somebody's home that they have, they keep tripping over something or whatever it is. Or they keep looking at something that's awful. I like to try and figure stuff out. So, and to tinker. I love to tinker. That inspires me. So, does anybody else have any other questions? I covered all the questions on the brochure here. Yeah, Gloria.
Okay, if somebody donated to your, let's say wood or unfinished projects or stuff like that, is that something that you would be interested in?
Well, I certainly would be interested if I had space for it. Unfortunately, I don't have space to take any more wood. I had a salvage project that I did towards the end of last year, thanks to Tammy, and I still have a ton of wood. And it's doing it's leaning up, and now it's like this. So I have to keep going back. So I just don't have the space right now.
What are you looking for?
Pardon?
What are you looking for?
Hand tools would be the big thing, really. I think it's important that when I start out with a class is to teach kids how to keep an edge on your tool, because that's the beginning. Because if you don't have a sharp tool, you're going to get frustrated. Stacy?
And what's the cost for the classes and stuff?
So the class that I have currently going is $149, and that's just a week long. It's 10 hours total. It starts next week, next Monday. Yeah. Patty and her daughter and daughter's friend are coming, and those of you know Dana Baker, right? Dana Baker. It's at Church on the Way. Our Church on the Way. No. Because they changed their name. It's Crosspoint, but no, it's at Real Life Church. I'm going to be in the building at Real Life Church. They have a classroom. I do have a flyer. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I can get that for you. Thank you. So, anybody? That's it. All right. There's my time. Thank you, everybody.